Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast. I know the audio quality is not amazing. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about today. So I planned on doing today's podcast on kind of getting over our insecurities, how our insecurities about our professional life influence us or our personal life, like our personal insecurities or our professional insecurities, how they influence the way we do our business. And then I started running into some technical issues. And so I decided today I'm going to talk about something that's similar to that, but still different, doing it anyway, doing it scared, and doing it imperfectly. I have been talking a lot lately about how I've been making some mistakes and I'm working to adjust those things. And funny story, yesterday I was working on one of my new books that are coming out. I've been releasing quite a few books over at decisiontreelearning.com, which is my educational site for parents and for teachers and helping students learn. And I found that at the very beginning, I think it's like the fifth or sixth page, there is a typing error in my book on education. So there's that. But I find that when we're trying to break into new areas in our business, we run into more and more problems. And, that makes sense because we're trying new things. We're stepping outside of our comfort zone. We're trying to advance into things that we aren't experienced in. So there's kind of a learning curve. Tons of cliches today. It's great. You'll love it. But there's a lot of learning that has to happen and a lot of things that we have to try to be okay with doing imperfectly. We have to learn how to do things less well than we're used to doing them. I remember when my husband was going through his program and he was becoming a nurse, and he had been a paramedic at that point for, I don't even remember, like 15 or 16 years at least. And so he was at the top of his game. He was like the lead medic. He was well learned. It was second nature. And then when he became a nurse, he dropped back down to the bottom because he's now in a new field. Well, you got to understand. He's no longer the one who's been doing it the longest, the best. He's dropping down to a new level and has to build back up. It's the same thing that we do as professionals, whether you're a nurse or a teacher or entering a new career field or trying a new business concept. We're not going to be where we were in the previous area. We've dropped back down, kind of like when we went from elementary school to junior high to high school to college. We're down at the bottom. We're not the best, the cool kids, whatever that is. And that means that we are going to make more mistakes than we are used to making. And that kind of plays into our insecurities. And if you're someone who doesn't feel overly confident in your abilities in a specific area, you may be tempted to just decide to stop and not push further because, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe this isn't the right thing for me. Maybe this isn't really my thing. And really, it's just we don't feel comfortable being less than perfect at something. We're demanding too much of ourselves, and we're not willing to be humble enough to be imperfect. I actually started thinking about this idea in another capacity when I was listening to a mentor of mine. He has a daily broadcast that he puts out. It's just like usually 10 minutes or less long. And I've been noticing he's been making a lot more errors in what he says, and he's not been quite as polished as he usually is. And it's not a problem. It doesn't interfere with understanding or comprehension. And I'm wondering, is it because he's getting older? Is it because he's busy and he's trying to do too many things at once? Or is it because he realizes that it's okay to not have a perfectly polished version, and instead of doing numerous takes of his daily uploads, he's allowing a few of those little stutters and errors to come through? In my own development here over these last 6 to 12 months, I've been pushing into a lot of new territories, and I've been really insecure, and I've been doing it really poorly sometimes. And that's what kind of led me to decide I'm going to go ahead and do this podcast with bad audio quality today. I can't get my microphone to work. I have been up here for over an hour trying to get it to work. And maybe sometimes it's okay to deliver real content with less than perfect means. I think that I know for a fact that we get um, stopped. We we stall out because we don't want to look less than perfect. We don't want to look stupid in front of somebody. We don't want to look unpolished. And when you see all these overly edited videos and these sound bites and these jump in and out, I mean, instead of just teaching someone what we know about, I don't know, cooking, or what we know about knitting, or what we know about building a fire, camping, navigating in the dark, navigating with a compass, instead of just teaching what we know, we are so accustomed to needing to be entertained that we have to over edit our videos where there's a movement every 3 to 6 seconds in our video, where there's some kind of thing that changes or it zooms in or zooms out, or you guys can't pay attention. And it prevents us from really learning meaningful content, because the people that really know how to, navigate in the dark may not be the best editors, and we're missing out on opportunities. If you're so concerned about the audio quality of this, now I want to do an excellent show, and I've been trying to get better and better audio, but my microphone is simply not cooperating with my computer today. So we have two choices. We can listen to a little bit grainier video. There might be a few noises in the background. It may not be perfect, but there's good content that you can use and things that you can think about. Or we just say, well, if it's not going to be perfect, I'm not going to put it out there. And then progress doesn't happen. So I guess what I'm saying is today I'm really living the ending of every podcast. I always tell you that, sometimes we're going to fail, just fail forward. And I mean it when I say that. And failure isn't always like completely falling on our face. Sometimes it's just not quite reaching the standards we've created for ourselves. And as someone who was a straight A student in college and who has grown to demand a certain level of excellence from myself and others, I think that sometimes I fail by trying to be perfect. And I think that we as a society have demanded perfection, which is not realistic. So we've demanded fake. We want fake, and we want pristine and polished rather than excellence and communication from people who are knowledgeable. So I guess this week, think about what it is that you are so worried about in putting out something that's less than perfect, and what that's preventing you from accomplishing. Now, if you're somebody who tends to do things halfway, this podcast is not for you. I know the people that listen to this podcast in general are overachievers and hard workers, and we are so worried that something that we put out there is not going to be the be-all, end-all. And so we just would rather not put something out there and fail quietly than put something out there, have it rejected, and fail publicly. All right, guys, this is what I have for you today. I am trying to be excellent. I am not trying to be perfect. And today I may have failed, but at least I failed forward. I'll see you guys next week.